Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Hey Gurudev. We stopped somewhere here yesterday. I'll just read the last few paras and then we'll go on to the next verse. So, why does Ishvara assume a physical body? So, for us, let me go here, the reality of Krishna's birth. The body of, see, Arjuna's birth, Arjuna was a person, a jiva, born of karma, and therefore his birth, Janma, was empirically real. He had a parentage and a physical body, mind, and senses, all of which have an empirical reality, as we have seen. Krishna, on the other hand, said that as Ishvara, keeping his Maya under his control, he is born. We will see later why he was born. The reality of Krishna's birth. The body of anyone who is born is available for our perception. But what is available for our perception is not always totally true. The blue sky, for example, or a magician's tricks. Therefore, perception itself cannot establish the empirical reality of Krishna's birth. So just because we're able to perceive him doesn't mean he is empirical reality. Because not all that we see is true. If as Ishvara, Krishna is born, keeping the Maya under his control, his birth is definitely not subject to any punya or papa. Therefore, being not bound by karma, it has no empirical status. For it to be empirical, it has to be bound by karma. But because Krishna is not bound by karma, it is not empirical. Birth itself, being what it is, cannot be paramarthika either. Paramarthika is something that does not have a birth, and no death. So, nor can Krishna's birth be totally non existent, atyanta asat. since he was not a Vandya Putra, the son of a barren woman. He was born of Devaki and Vasudeva. Thus, it was not a totally non existent Krishna who was talking to Arjuna. Then, how are we to explain Krishna's birth in terms of reality? With reference to his birth, Krishna is Pratibhasika. You see him, and therefore he is. His birth is not due to karma, it is only apparent. Pratibhasika means that there was a Krishna whom everyone saw, but his birth and his body were purely Maya. Like everything else, they were born of Maya, but without the force of the law of karma. This kind of birth means that Ishvara is not condemned to the state of Jivatva. He merely assumes a particular body due to a certain necessity alone. So it is a special category altogether, Krishna's birth. So it is not Paramarthika because Paramarthika cannot have, is not something that has a birth and death. Paramarthika is something that is the truth. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Now, is it Vyavaharika? For it to qualify as Vyavaharika, it should have the effect of, it should be born by karma. But because Krishna is not under karma, he is not, he does not come under punya and papa, so it is not Vyavaharika. But is it that he is totally non-existent, like a Vandya Putra, like a son of a barren woman? Because if it's neither Paramarthika nor Vyavaharika, what is it then? We see him. We see him, and therefore it is Pratibhasika, but with a twist, in the sense that he does not come under Maya. So his birth is only apparent. So they were born of Maya, but without the force of karma. And therefore he assumes a particular body due to a certain necessity alone. So you see, the body of a jiva is driven by karma, whereas the birth of a jiva is driven by karma, whereas the birth of an avatara like Krishna is driven by necessity. Why does Ishvara assume a physical body? And what is it that makes it necessary for the Lord to assume a physical body? In the Puranas, it is said that before every incarnation, there is a collective petition to the Lord in the form of prayers on the part of all the good people and even the devas. Oh Lord, please do something. Please come and remedy this situation. It is time. Time is up. In fact, why haven't you come? The tyranny of these people is too much for us to bear, etc. These very prayers themselves become the material cause, upadana karana, for the Lord to introduce himself in a particular form, meaning that he assumes a body. The prayers of the jivas become the punya because of which a particular body is born for a given purpose. This incarnation of the Lord is what is meant by avatara. The purpose of the avatara's coming may be just to do one job, like Narasimha Avatara or Vamana Avatara, or to do many, as was the case with Rama and Krishna. In addition to the many jobs they came to do, Rama and Krishna also served as examples with reference to how people should live their lives. Rama exemplified how one can live a life of dharma in the face of all adversity, and Krishna was an embodiment of joy and wisdom. See, Rama required Yoga Vashishta. Vashishta had to tell him about when he went through that phase of depression, where he had all those profound questions coming up. But Krishna gave the Bhagavad Gita. So he was a source of wisdom. So an avatara Purusha has come. Why? Because of the necessity at that given time. He is, the birth is of course apparent. It's out of Maya, but keeping Maya under his control. Therefore, there is no karma. And the apparent punya is the collective prayer of all the devotees. So that becomes the upadana karana. For the Lord to introduce himself in a particular form, meaning that he assumes a body. I'm just, it just occurred to me and therefore I'm just sharing it. Likewise, as see, there are four types of devotees, right? Artha, Artharthi, Jignasu, and Jnani. So, how fervently you pray to be relieved of this samsara. To that extent, Krishna will make himself, he will appear. He will be the sarathi of our mind. He will direct it. Just like how the chariot is likened to the body, the mind is likened to the five horses, and then the senses, the horses are the senses, and the charioteer is Krishna, the intellect, that is the buddhi, that is directing the whole chariot. So the more fervently we pray for this for liberation, for this knowledge, to that extent Krishna makes himself available to us. And for all the bhakti saints, for Mirabai and all of them, it was that single pointed devotion which is what got them their enlightenment. So that way, that Pratibhasika, Krishna being Pratibhasika, probably we could understand it that way. Because he is there, yes, but how he is manifest, the knowledge that is Krishna, the joy and wisdom that is Krishna, that personifies Krishna, is there in the form of Bhagavad Gita, in the form of this beautiful teaching. But to how many is it apparent? To how many it is non existent? All those who do not are not exposed to this knowledge do not even know that Krishna existed. But it is only to those that are exposed to this that it, he exists. I don't know whether this train of my thought is right, but this just occurred to me. And therefore, for me, for example, several years ago, I knew Krishna is there as as someone who's born of Devaki and Vasudeva, and the whole story of Krishna is known to me. But was his wisdom available? That only started, the birth of that started only a few years ago. So I think it is to the extent that we recognize, to that extent Krishna appears in the form of that absolute joy, absolute jnana, absolute vairagya, like that Sri Bhagavan with all those resplendent six wealths. See, because he was equally visible to Duryodhana as well. He was visible to all the Kauravas and Pandavas as a physical entity, but as the true essence, only Arjuna was able to perceive, or he was given. It should be clearly understood that the concept of avatara is not required at all in order to worship Krishna as the Lord. A picture of Krishna as Ishvara is all that is needed for invoking the Lord. In fact, we can invoke the Lord in anything, even a rock. Invoking the Lord in a particular form and the concept of avatara are entirely different. We discuss it here only because the verse is referring to Krishna as avatara. Krishna himself says, "By my own powers of Maya, I as though assume a body." Shankara says in his commentary to this verse, while explaining how Ishvara assumes a body, Dehavan iva, Jataha iva, as though with a body, as though born. The word iva, as though, in Shankara's commentary indicates that there can be no empiricality here because Krishna's birth was not out of punya and papa. If there were punya and papa for Ishvara, then he would not be Ishvara at all. Therefore, when Ishvara assumes a body, he is only as though born. He has a body, but his body has no empiricality because it was not born out of punya and papa. If there were punya and papa for Ishvara, we would have the problem of an Ishvara with limitations, with reference to the Antakarana, which is not acceptable. And as we have seen, that is not possible because Ishvara is all knowledge. Therefore, Krishna tells Arjuna here, without punya and papa, I am born. which is the very concept of avatara.
Why it is concept only? It's sent.
See, just like how Maya is a concept, no?
Hmm.
Avatara also to explain avatara. That is why it's called the Avatara Vada, which is why Krishna says later in, I think, fourth chapter, yeah, with this chapter only, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. He creates himself. He assumes a body. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati. As in when dharma declines, and in order to uplift dharma and protect the good, he assumes a body. So basically, what we need to understand is that Avatara is not born of Punya and Papa. He does not have his own Punya Papa. If apparently Krishna and Rama went through all those difficulties, it is not because they had Punya and Papa to go through. The birth itself is because of the collective prayers of devotees. And it is apparent. The birth is apparent. We see them, but that is pratibhasika. See, the extent to which we understand a person is pratibhasika. No? It is individualist. It is subjective. You may choose to see Krishna only as a little baby Yadava boy being tended by Yashoda and Nanda and Yashoda. But you may choose to see him as the embodiment of truth, as an embodiment of knowledge. So that way it's pratibhasika. And initially it was said, not everything that we perceive is true. The blue sky, for instance, or the sun rising in the east, setting in the west. So, so this is such a reality. It is only apparent. It's as though born. And like that only he was as though born even before Vivaswan or at the time of Vivaswan. And Vivaswan was given this knowledge. And then it was Ikshvaku. And then it was, after Vivaswan, it was Manu. See, we are also as though born. We also have an empirical reality. But our birth is because of a bundle of karma. We have limited jnana, limited, our desire is, everything is limited for us as jiva. Whereas Krishna, on the other hand, although his birth is as though, he has absolute Shakti, absolute, that Kriya Shakti, Icha Shakti, Jnana Shakti is an absolute measure. So it has to be slotted in some form of reality, some reality, these three orders of reality. Is it Paramarthika? No. Is it Vyavaharika? Vyavaharika is something that comes under the control of Maya. All of Vyavaharika is because of Maya, right? So here also, out of his own Maya he has, but he is Maya Adhina, Maya Tita, Maya Pati. Shall we move on or do you want to discuss this? I think yesterday we started reading from the very beginning, right? And I read these two, reality of Krishna's birth. Do you want me to read this part again or should we move on further?
Jai Gurudev,
Okay.
Brahmaraji,
Yeah.
the way Bhagavan and Maya. So is it vice versa? Even for Maya, it is like completely dependent on Bhagavan only, and Bhagavan is all he is Mayapati. So it is like they both are Pratibhasika. The only difference is that Maya we can see in a Vyakta form. Because of Maya, we are able to see him in a physical form. And the same way, Maya is able to manifest because of Bhagavan only, right? Both are interdependent on each other.
Yeah. Maya is certainly an offshoot of Bhagavan, no doubt, right?
Mm.
Maya is Brahmashraya Maya. Without Brahma, there is no Maya. Brahma can
Mm.
be alone without Maya, but Maya has no existence without Brahma.
Mm.
So, what was your question again?
No, I just want to understand that the Prabhava of Maya is
Hmm.
pervading in all three lokas. I mean, we are not able to, uh, um, uh, because we are Maya Dasa,
Hmm.
because we are dependent on that, and because we are conditioned through our physical form and our capabilities and everything. Uh, so, but for Bhagwan, it is so it is all pervading when you see like uh, as we read in so many my just my understanding is that even uh, those who are enlightened like Ramana Maharshi or Gurudev or all Swami Chinmay, they have uh, overcome this aspect of Maya due to the grace of Bhagavan, or maybe um, I don't know. I'm not able to put it in the right way, but the things, the knots are getting cleared that it is in our hands whether we want to become we want to stay in control of Maya or we want to come out of its effect. I know it is very confusing. I'm saying too many things at a
No,
time.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
I am able to get what you're wanting to mean, what wanting to say, which is true. Yes, both of us, both Krishna and Jiva, for example, Arjuna, are as though apparent birth is because of Maya.
Even
Arjuna,
Arjuna was not able to see or understand, and even after seeing him,
yeah,
when Vishwarupa Darshan ke baad bhi, he was deluded
mm,
when his son died, or
yeah,
maybe there were many episodes where he was deluded.
yeah,
But when you compare him with Uddhava, then he is very different. He had that affirmation that there is no doubt about it that only Krishna is my shelter, right? Like
correct.
of course,
See,
Duryodhana and other people, they were due to their prakriti. Like he said that although I know what is adharma, but still I'm compelled to do that adharma only.
yeah, that is right. That is why there is this element of pratibhasika satya for Krishna. See, the more Shuddha our antakarana is, the more that Krishna consciousness reflects.
True, true. Antakarana is the main. Yeah, got it. Very
That is the
beautiful.
subjective reality, no? So, how
Hmm.
clean our antakarana is, how clean, how devoid of prejudices, how devoid of raga, dveshas, and fear.
Ragadvesh.
Arjuna, when he saw the Vishwarupa Sandarshan, we saw the Vishwarupa Darshana, he had fear. Initially, he only asked, he said, I want to see your whole form, the full form. And then he got so scared. He still had the fear
Hmm.
because he was still in that dualistic thing. So that fear is what got him to say, no, Krishna, enough, please, I want to see your original form.
Hmm.
He still had that, avidya was still there, that covering was still there. He was able to see duality still.
Hmm.
But whereas an enlightened person, jnani, that's why Krishna says, jnani tu me matam. Of all the devotees, the four types, artha, artharthi, jignasu, and jnani, jnani is me.
Hmm.
Because there's no difference between jnani and me. So
Hmm.
they merge with that. They become, it's not become, I should not say become. There is only paramarthika satya with respect to enlightened beings. That is why they are able to smile at all the little problems, big problems that we think we're facing, and we go to them. They're able to just smile through it because their understanding and their perception, their outlook is so different. We are getting entangled in all those, the web of Maya and samsara, whereas they have their they have a clear vision.
Even energy was like rishis when they Ma Durga was I mean the form came out when it was out of the prayer of including Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, right?
Which one?
Lalitamba or Durga,
Yeah.
whichever form of energy when we talk about,
Mhm.
that was also out of prayers, right?
Yeah.
So both are, I believe that they are both same. It is not like interdependent or they both are same. Prakriti and Purusha.
Without Prakriti, without Purusha, there is no Prakriti, right?
Hmm.
Prakriti is a reflection of Purusha.
Hmm.
Purusha can be standalone, but for manifesting, he requires Prakriti. So that way,
Hmm.
I don't know whether you can say they are interdependent, but yes, the manifestation in the so-called human form, like an avatara or the form assuming a body. Dashavatara, there were different kinds of bodies, not necessarily human form. So based on that need at that point, what was required, they took the form. So that way, if that is what you're meaning by interdependence, yes.
Hmm. Again, that kuch jaan ke chalo, kuch मान के चलो,
मान के
because
चल See,
this whole thing is so mysterious,
I
and
know.
it is uh, but with gratitude we have to accept and appreciate only that
Yeah.
it is with that wow, as Gurudev always says.
So we are trying to understand Maya, which is so difficult to understand. That is the beauty of this.
Gurudev always says, whichever is Devta, we say Lalita Ambika or Ganesha or anything, the same energy is there. So when we chant, we say, "Ki, this is the greatest, this is the greatest, the same energy. So we cannot say it is interdependent again.
And that is why it is said, in order to worship, you don't need a form called Krishna. You can worship Ishvara in any form. There's that. See, it should be clearly understood that the concept of avatara is not required at all in order to worship Krishna as the Lord. In fact, we can invoke a picture of Krishna as Ishvara is all that is needed for invoking the Lord. In fact, we can invoke the Lord in anything, even a rock. Invoking the Lord in a particular form and the concept of avatara are entirely different. We discuss it here only because the verse is referring to Krishna as an avatara. That story of Bhakta Kannappa, right? Where he's worshipping a stone. He's just worshipping that stone, that linga. So, in order to worship, you don't require the concept of avatara. Because you can see the Lord in every aspect of creation.
Brahmaraj, can you repeat from the that Tattva Bodha, how the Prakriti came, Purusha came, means that sequence, can you tell once?
Yeah. So that is Brahmashraya Maya
Hmm.
and Sattva Rajas Tamo Gunatmika Maya Asti. And then from From these gunas come the five great elements. Sattva, Rajas, Tamo, Gunatmika, Maya. Etesham. Um, how does the Panchatattva come? That was, 1 second. I'm not able to get that link between the Sattva, Rajas, Tamo, Gunatmika, Maya, and then the five elements.
From sattva, from sattva something, rajas something, and then tamas something like that. Karmendriya, Jnanendriya, and all that. Before that, okay, half of the portion, 1/4 of the portion, then that 5 elements. No, before that, something is there. Correct.
So basically, from the Sattva, you have the five elements that are born out of this, and each one has their sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic aspects. So, from the sattvic aspects, the antakarana is born. Etesham sattvikamshat, you have the manas, chitta, ahankara, antakaranani, sambhutani. And then from the rajasamshat, you have all the pancha pranas and the organs of action and organs of the senses are born. And then from the tamasic aspect, because of the panchikarana, you have the gross body that is formed. Let me see if I can get the tattva board. 1 second. I'll just stop the share.
Which one, Dr. Brahmara, you're talking about? This.
No, Sarlaji wanted the origin
Actually,
of.
it was only Akasha. Then from Akasha, the means that shloka is also there, na? That Sambhuta, like that.
Oh, Sambhutam. What is born from that? That one.
From
Is that
space,
what you're
air, from fire, water, then earth, like that. Five
Oh,
came from the Prakriti, like that.
oh,
Let
okay,
me
okay.
just get this one. 219. Actually, we need to revise tattva board one more time.
Mm.
So this is tattva board. Okay, 1 second. I think.
Etesam panchatattvam tattvanam mati akashaya satvikamsat श्रोत्रेन्द्रिय सम्भूतम वायुः सात्विकांशात् त्वकेन्द्रिय सम्भूतम.
No, she wanted the connect between Brahma, Maya, and then these. What we'll do, we have about 15 minutes. Maybe we'll run through the Tattva Bodh shlokas, just the shlokas, and then as I'm just reading, you can stop me if you're not understanding. Then we'll do the English transliteration of this. Okay?
Yeah, no problem. So you're starting from the beginning?
Yeah, from the beginning. I've shared it.
Okay.
Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya tatvabodho bhidiyate. Then sadhana chatushtaya sampannadhikarina moksha sadhana bhutam tattva viveka prakaram vakshama. So in this book, we reveal the method of tattva viveka, analysis of reality, which is the means of liberation and intended for the deserving ones who possess the fourfold qualifications. Sadhana chatushtayam kim? Nitya, what are the fourfold sadhanas? Nitya nitya vastu vivekaha, iha mutrartha phala bhoga viragaha, shamadhi shatka sampattihi, mumukshutvam cheti. They are viveka, ability to distinguish between the permanent and impermanent, vairagya, dispassion towards pleasurable results of karma here and hereafter, the sixfold wealth like shama, etc., and mumukshutvam, desire for ultimate liberation. Vivekaha kim? Nitya nitya vastu vivekaha kaha? Nitya vastu ekam brahma, tad vyatiriktam sarvam anityam. Ayameva nitya nitya vastu vivekaha. Viragaha kaha? Iha swarga bhogeshu ichha rahityam. So, what is vairagya? Viraga is the freedom from the desire for worldly and heavenly pleasures. Shamadhi sadhana chat sampattihi ka shamodama uparama titiksha shraddha samadhanam cha iti. Shamah kaha mano nigraha, regulation of the mind. Damah kaha chakshuradi bahyendriya nigraha, that is regulation of the external sense organs like eyes. Uparamah kaha swadharmanushtanameva. Indeed, it is fulfilling one's own swadharma, personal responsibilities. Titiksha ka shitoshna sukha dukkhadi sahishnutvam. The fortitude to endure the heat and cold, joy and sorrow, etc. Shraddha kidrishi Guru Vedanta Vakyadishu Vishwasaha Shraddha. Shraddha is the trust in the words of the Guru and the Vedanta teachings. Samadhanam kim? Chitta ekagrata, single pointedness of the mind. Mumukshutvam kim? Moksho me bhuyaditi ichha, the intense desire I should gain ultimate liberation. Etat sadhana chatushtayam. Tatah tattva vivekasyadhikarino bhavanti. Through this, people become qualified for tattva viveka. Tattva vivekaha kaha? Atma satyam tadanyat sarvam mithyeti. So, tattva viveka is Atma, the self is satyam, absolutely real. Everything other than Atma is mithya, apparently real. So, this is the Paramarthika Satya and the Vyavaharika Satya. Atma kaha? Sthula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vyatiriktaha Panchakoshatitaha san Avasthatraya Sakshi Sachidananda Swarupaha san Yaha Tishtati Sa Atma. So, Atma is that which exists in the nature of Satchit Ananda, existence, consciousness, and fullness. Atma is different from the three bodies, gross, subtle, and causal. It is beyond, untainted by the five koshas, and it is the witness of the three states of experience. This is what Krishna is. But he has taken as
Can
though
you
taking form.
read one more time the Atma Kaga?
Yeah. Atma kaha? Sthula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vyatiriktaha Panchakoshatitaha san Avasthatraya Sakshi Sachidananda Swarupaha san Yaha Tishtati Sa Atma. So Atma is something, is that which is which is apart from the three shariras, is the very witness of all the three states and is beyond, not tainted by the panchakoshas, and is of the nature of Satchit Ananda. Then Sthula Shariram Kim Panchīkrita Pancha Mahabhutaihi Kritam Satkarma Janyam Sukhadukhadi Bhogayatanam Shariram Asti Jayate Vardhate Viparinamate Apakshiyate Vinashyatiti Shad Vikaravat Etat Sthula Shariram. So it is the physical body, gross body, subject to the sixfold modifications like birth, like being, birth, growth, transformation, decay, and death. The body is the physical abode that is required by the indweller to experience external joy, sorrow, etc. It is born of good karma, subtle results earned from the past lives, and is constituted of the five great elements that have divided and intermingled in a fivefold way. Sukshma Shariram Kim Apanchīkrita Panchamahabhutaihi Kritam Satkarma Janyam Sukhadukhadi Bhoga Sadhanam Pancha Jnanendriyani Pancha Karmendriyani Pancha Pranadayah Manaschaikam Buddhischaika Evam Sapta Dashakalabihi Sahayaha Tishtati Tat Sukshma Shariram. The subtle body is that which exists with 17 aspects, that is 5 jnanendriyas, 5 karmendriyas, 5 pranas, mana and buddhi, manas and buddhi. It is the means for experiencing joy. So Sthula Sharira is the counter for experiencing joy, is the sadhana. Here it is the ayatana. This is the sadhanam, whereas that was ayatana. Sukha dukkhadi bhogayatana, the Sthula Sharira. Is the physical abode.
What is the ayatana means?
Ayatana is
a
a
journey.
physical board, is the physical
Oh,
entity.
right. Entity. Okay. Oh, yeah. Sthula Sarira. Physical entity.
Whereas this is the sadhana. It is
Sadhana.
through which you
Subtle body.
experience. It is the means for experiencing joy, sorrow, etc. See, only physical body is like a dead body. Nothing happens. Only when the Sukshma Sharira is also there, do you experience. So, born of past karmas, it is constituted of the 5 original elements that have not gone through the process of fivefold division. Apanchīkrita.
Panchikrita. Right.
Then
Jnanendriyas.
Jnanendriyas. Shrotram tvak chakshuhu rasana ghranam iti pancha jnanendriyan. That's self-explanatory, right? I'm going to skip that. Shrotrasya dig devata tvacho vayuhu chakshushaha suryaha rasanaya varunaha घ्राणस्य अश्विनौ इति ज्ञानेन्द्रिय देवता श्रोत्रस्य विषयः शब्दग्रहणं त्वचो विषयः स्पर्शग्रहणं चक्षुषोर्विषयः रूपग्रहणं रसनाय विषयः रसग्रहणं घ्राणस्य विषयः गन्धग्रहणम् इति. Then वाक् पाणि पाद पायु उपस्थानीति पंचकर्मेन्द्रियाणि. वाचो देवता वह्निः हस्तयोर इन्द्रः पादयोर विष्णुः पायोर मृत्युः उपस्थस्य प्रजापतिः इति कर्मेन्द्रिय देवता. वाचो विषयः भाषणं पाण्योर विषयः वस्तुग्रहणं पादयोर विषयः गमनं पायोर विषयः मलत्यागः उपस्थस्य विषयः आनंद इति. Then Karana Shariram Kim Anirvachya Anadya Avidya Rupam Sharira Dvayasya Karana Matram Sat Swarupa Ajnanam Nirvikalpaka Rupam Yadasti Tat Karana Shariram. The causal body is something which is inexplicable, and in the nature of beginningless avidya. It is the source of the other two bodies, gross and causal. It includes ignorance about the nature of the self and has a non-differentiated, unmanifest form. This is exactly how the jiva is born, right? Empirical reality. So there is that jivatva which has limitation. He does not know his true self. He's limited. Whereas Krishna, born out of control, of having Maya under his control, he is all-knowing. He knows his true self. Avasthatraya, 3 states. Avasthatrayam kim? Jagrat, Swapna, Sushuptyavasthaha. Right? Jagradavastha ka Shrotradi Jnanendriyaihi Shabdadi Vishayaischa Jnayate iti yatsa Jagradavastha. That condition in which one is able to comprehend sense objects like sound, etc., through the sense organs like eyes and ears. Sthula Sharirabhimani Atma Vishwa iti uchate. So the self identified with the physical body is called Vishwa. Swapnavastha keti chet Jagradavasthayam yadrisham yachrutam tadjanita vasanaya nidra samaye yaha prapanchaha pratiyate sa swapnavastha. It is the universe, the swapnavastha is the universe that appears to exist during sleep. It originates from the impressions of the objects that were seen or heard while one was in the waking condition. Sukshma Sharirabhimani Atma Taijasa iti uchate. So this self-identified with the subtle body is called Taijasa. Then Ataha Sushuptyavastha ka aham kimapi na janami sukhena maya nidra anubhuyata iti Sushuptyavastha. So that Sushupti is that sleep state, is the experience which one refers to by the statements, I did not know anything and I experienced blissful sleep. Karana Sharirabhimani Atma Prajna iti uchate. So the self-identified with the causal body is called Prajna. Then the Panchakosha. Panchakoshaha ke Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamayas-cheti. Annamayah kaha annarasenaiva bhutva annarasenaiva vriddhim prapya annarupa prithivyam yad viliyate tad annamayah koshah stula shariram. What is Annamaya Kosha? The Annamaya is constituted of the physical body which is born of food, grows to size through food, and returns back to the earth, which is a form of food. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhava. That's what we learned in the 3rd chapter, right? So this physical body is born of food. Pranamaya kaha pranadhyah panchavayavaha vagadindriya panchakam pranamaya koshaha. The 5 vital airs like prana, etc., and the sense organs like speech, etc., form the pranamaya kosha. We didn't come to that part yet. Okay, let me just go to that. Beyond the 5 sheets. Atma. Jagat. Okay, I'm just going to read this because this was the original doubt that Sarlaji had. So, Atha Chaturvimshati Tatvotpatti Prakaram Vakshamaha. We're going to speak about the origin of creation in its 24 aspects. Brahmashraya Sattvarajastamo Gunatmika Maya Asti. Tatah Akashasam. That was the thing that was missing. Tatah Akashasambhutaha. Akashad Vayu. Vayos Tejaha. Tejasapaha. Adbhya Prithivi. Tatah. From there, from Maya, the space element comes. Originated from Brahma. Then Vayu came. Then Tejas. And then Etesham Panchatattvanam Madhye Akashasya Satvikamshat Shrotendriyam Sambhutam. I think we'll do this tomorrow, huh? we'll do all of this tomorrow. We'll complete Tattva
So
Bodh
this
once.
five
Whole
Pancha Mahabhutas from the Maya again.
correct.
It
No,
is originated from Maya.
right. All that has come from Maya,
Mhm.
right? So, yeah, we'll stop here today. Tomorrow we'll go back and finish the 5 sheets. We'll complete Tattva Bodh 1 reading, and then we'll go back to our 4th chapter.
Thank you, Brahmaraji.
Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
Thank you.